with that, I believe we've gone through most of the areas. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we have most everything right now. Oh yeah, I do want to kind of point out that there's like a strange ambiance in here. I believe that's what the wiki calls it. I don't believe this noise plays anywhere else in the game except for this, like, courtyard full of corpses and jail cells. It gives this whole place a strange air that is kind of impossible to... Like, it feels so fucking creepy over here. Even in a game where you're already living through the post-apocalypse. I like it a lot. Let's deposit these souls for no particular reason. Ooh, there's a person with a nice hat. I think like 40 is the point where your weapons stop scaling so awesomely with strength, but we're not quite there yet. Also, wow, we are literally like 45 souls away from another level, so I'm just gonna boop this fucker. This area is also really nice because it's one of the few places that I'm probably not gonna cut much out at all. Like, there's probably gonna be a few extra things here right at the end that I'm gonna take a little bit for, but it's so dense that I just have so much shit to talk about the whole time. I really like it for that. A little extra health there. And now I feel a lot more comfortable with my amount of souls. These guys noticed us? Yes, they have. Well, that was their first and, frankly, last mistake. There is one more thing I'd like to bother before we go off to that Coliseum. I can't remember if these guys drop anything interesting, but yeah. Like, I could show off fighting them, but I don't know if it would gain you anything. I think you can bait a bunch of the crows into falling off here and dying. But for now, there is one other spot that had some items on it. Let's go check that dragon out, right? Yeah, that thing ain't dead. Blood shield. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh jeez. That's a dragon. That is a giant undead dragon. And you might actually notice that in trying to chase us, it tore itself in half. Ugh. I think that will corrode your weapons and poison or toxic you. I will usually let this guy be, but yes, the back half of that dragon is actually still sitting on the other end of that bridge. It's one of the great set pieces of this area that it literally, in attempting to chase you, tears its body in half. Oh god, it's so creepy. For our trouble, we did get a blood shield. Which, cool, I guess. Really nice design. The blood shield is spoken of in the Lost Legends. The red of blood is slightly enchanted and boosts various resistances. I believe what it does, if I were to equip it right now, is gives me extra extra points in the status resistances, which will show up as the bars, making it look like I was slightly poisoned or cursed or whatever. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. So the reason it does that is that where those bars all started at was basically the 0 that your thing was on, but then your meter got a little bit longer, and instead of staying at 0, it jumped it over a little bit. And that'll happen anytime you equip something with better resistances than what you had before. It's sort of a weird game thing, but I kind of like it. Anyway, if you are correctly oriented, because I was running towards the wrong door there, you'll know that the undead dragon that ran at us is actually right above us right now, and this, much like the George Washington Bridge, is a double-decker. Night ahead. We find a few of these guys here, including another cute little ambush. Like, yeah, I definitely had no idea you were here, sir. You do find a lot of those kinds of things in this area. Like, it's still the kind of stuff that would catch you off guard. I mean, like, shit, look at this. There's actually a 4-man squad just waiting for you if you run straight for that guy. And as that thing told us, there is in fact a knight ahead. If you'll recall, I believe this is a Knight Baronecki, one of the really big guys. But I believe his sword, like, this is the first time we've seen one of them with a giant sword like this, so it kind of marks them off as unique. I think we can backstab him. I think I'm just, like, not getting it quite correct. Our Great Shield is doing a lot of work here, by the way. Maybe we can't. I'm not sure. Oh, God, he's almost dead. There we go. Get a large Titanite shard from this very undead guy. This is probably one of the most try-jumping spots in the game. I'm pretty sure in Geoff's LP we got him to fall down this one. There's nothing down there. There has never been anything down there. There will never be anything down there. Do not try jumping under any circumstances. But it looks like we've finally made it to our final destination. Let's see what's in store. We haven't quite run into that abomination just yet, have we? Damn, I guess I didn't get the area to reload when Jeremiah was here. There's also supposed to be his armor set. So, there will be some cut content there. Anyway, you'll notice, like, very bossy music has started. And there's a giant woman. Standing in front of us. But she's not attacking us. And we can talk, in fact.
Who art thou? One of us thou art not. If thou hast misstepped into this world, plunge down from the plank and hurry home. If thou seekest I, thine desires shall be requited not. Thou must returneth whence thou came. This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind, but thou dost not belong. I beg of thee, plunge down from the plank and hurry home.
I think that's the last thing she has to say.
Thou must this land is, I beg of.
So, after going through this entire painted world, most people would probably not agree with that land is peaceful, inhabitants kind thing. But let's take a look at this woman here. She seems to be quite fuzzy, and while at first you might think that those are like just clothing, and some of it might be, she also has this tail here. She also has, the fuzz gives her a kind of unearthly glow. I really like her design. She's half-breed Priscilla, and she's an entirely optional boss in that you never have to fight her. In fact, we can just leave right now if we want, like she's saying. She clearly doesn't want to fight. But you can. But honestly, I think I might let this one be. That said, we're going to have to jump back into the painted world and come back because there is one last item I need to get here. Tears. I did it. So she said walk up to this plank, and if we do so, we actually can try jumping. For once. Admittedly, it's kind of interesting that we took the advice of that strange dragon human lady, but that was really good, actually. You can see the hesitation in the character model for just jumping off of a fucking cliff. But then you do it, and it plays the exact same sound as when you get pulled in. Like, holy shit, I actually did it. It's a nice finishing punch to this. I really like it. Alright. Let's examine this one last time. You can actually skip the cutscene that brings you in. And just run through to the end there, because if you get the area to reload, you actually, it will make Jeremiah's armor spawn, basically. We just never reloaded the world before or after we killed him, because sitting at the bonfire doesn't quite count. And that's required in a few places. So let's go grab that. Interestingly, all of the enemies that we killed last time are still dead, which makes our lives a bit easier. I'm glad I didn't rest at the bonfire. All these guys are still in positions, too. I'm surprised. I would have figured this area would have just reloaded completely, but I guess it doesn't. Huh. People like to make fun of that line, like, this world is peaceful, its inhabitants kind, but I sort of like to take it as a... how do you put this? Like, she's saying that... She's sort of hinting at that society that has also been hinted at around here, where this place, much like the rest of the world, has completely fallen apart now. And, I mean, obviously, given how even the masonry seems to be having some trouble these days. But it wasn't always like that. It seems that this was that the world that Priscilla used to belong to, and that she may be in denial about still existing, was at one point a society of outcasts, people looked down upon by the gods for one reason or another. And I really like that. Like, it's again something that people make. It's a line that people make fun of all the time. Also, Priscilla, are you floating, or is that just a weird shadow effect? Okay, yeah, your feet are on the ground. It just looks like she's, yeah, slightly above the ground right now. But it tells story, just like everything else in this game does.
Thou must return it.
And I really like that. Oh, come on, is it not going to give us his gear? I beat him. I know I beat him. It is supposed to appear, like, right here if you've killed Xanthos King Jeremiah. So I guess we'll have to come back and get that. Oh my god, maybe we didn't reload the area even after going back. I'm gonna have to, like... This is probably gonna work. Yeah, because it didn't respawn the enemies or anything. Like, I'm gonna have to reload the entire area. I thought leaving the world and coming back would do it. That's weird. Don't judge me. Oh right, it will actually push you outside of the boss room, because technically we are in a boss battle here. If you attack her, her health meter will appear. Yeah, I see the glow now. Yeah, I guess it just didn't reload the area for real. Because basically, this corpse doesn't spawn the first time you enter this area, and it doesn't spawn, like, the trigger for it to spawn isn't until you kill Xanthos King Jeremiah. But the way the game loads in assets, it needs to reload the area itself for the corpse to get the chance to spawn in the first place. And that's why it didn't show up beforehand. And for our troubles and our save scumming, not really, we get the Xanthos set, including the completely ridiculous Xanthos crown. And I'm looking in the wrong place. Good job. One of the more infamous sets in the game, more for its looks than for anything else. But a mysterious item worn by the Xanthos king, Jeremiah, the legendary exile. No one knows where it came from. It may be tattered, but its bright yellow color still stings the eyes. Yeah, this is a very loud set. A mysterious item once worn by Xanthos king, Jeremiah. I can say that. Xanthos just means yellow in Greek, by the way. It's... People have wondered, people wonder about that, but that's what it means. The crown bears high-quality cloth, which is quite soft to the touch, but its bright yellow color stings the eyes, and it is clearly far too big. I think this item might be in Demon's Souls, but I don't know. I haven't actually played Demon's Souls, despite my random bits of trivia about it. Yeah, so if you ever get invaded by someone who looks like this, now you know why. I like that this thing has, like, a bloody patch on the top of the head. It's kind of creepy. It's a lot creepy. I also do really, really like the leggings of this set for how, like, ridiculous they are. You'll notice that it's really just a skirt rather than a proper pair of pants / cloak kind of thing. It doesn't go with any other armor in the game, but quite nice. Let's go back to our Elite Knight leggings because they're quite strong, and honestly I do like this look quite a lot. The armored leggings with the traveling cloak kind of thing. I don't know, I always found the dingy cloak to be one of my favorite looking items, and of course, you're not really playing Dark Souls if you're not playing Fashion Souls. Let's jump off this cliff again and watch this cutscene, because I like it a lot. You sort of like, you look over and kind of work up the courage to jump here. It's so good. That little half jump there. There's a lot of attention to detail to player animations in very specific spots in this game, if that makes sense. And I really like it for that. It's really interesting the way that it does that. But hey, this has gone on for about an hour and a half, and there's a lot of parts of the rest of this game that I am going to try to go through fairly quickly, but I really do think the painted world deserves your full attention, and that it's a level that really distills the Dark Souls experience down into a single playable, just tiny chunk. And like, if you want to understand what Dark Souls does right, like what makes it such a compelling and interesting game for so many people, understanding the painted world is probably one of the best things you could do. Like, if you want to design a game like Dark Souls, and everyone wants to do that these days, or even just take lessons from Dark Souls, just go through the painted world, scouring every little bit of it someday, because there is not a single thing out of place in there that doesn't fit in with the overall design of the level, with the feel of the world that it establishes. It is absolutely beautiful. I'll see you guys next time. Let's homeward bone out so that I don't accidentally aggro one of those guys. Oh, that's gonna send me back to the painted world, isn't it? Oh. Man, I had such a great exit, and now I'm gonna have to show this off. Yeah, it gives you a homeward bone so that it can actually send you back to this bonfire, and interestingly, I originally warped to the princess bonfire where Gwendolyn is, or sorry, Guinevere is. Gwendolyn, totally different, and much later. It actually set our last rested bonfire when we left the painted world to this one. That's pretty neat. And since we're here, I don't believe we ever talked with the Brass Knight with the Brass Firekeeper since we became a Sword of the Dark Moon blade.
You are one of us. That is a surprise, but a pleasant one. We are both blades of the Dark Moon now. I shall look forward to fighting alongside you.
Anything else?
So you have received a revelation. Very auspicious. I hope for the best. I pray that through you, her wish will be granted.
This is another interesting little piece of dialogue. So if you remember correctly, or God, she originally said we would be visited by a revelation. Those were her, like, exact words. If we made it through. But she very clearly knew what was going on here. She very clearly knew that we were that we have visited Guinevere, and I kind of feel like that's a little suspicious, don't you?
Have you heard of Seath the Scaleless? In legend, he turned against the ancient dragons. He became Lord Gwyn's confidant, was granted dukedom, and was allowed to pursue his research. At the Regal Archives, he immersed himself in research on scales of immortality. The one thing that he did not have, but his very research drove him mad. The Archives became a dungeon, a place for sinister experiments. Now, nobody dares even approach the Duke's forbidden Archives. It looms over this land high atop the mountain. But I should warn against even an approach.
And since we've beaten Honorlando now, she gives us a hint, and also some backstory, about Seath the Scaleless. That it's actually that tower that we've been seeing for basically the entirety of the game. And I really like that you get that little preface if you come to her, because this is actually where we're going to start next time when we go to the Duke's Archives. Because it really sets up the entire area for you in a way that you wouldn't really get if you hadn't talked to her beforehand.
If you require rest, that is.
Right, so that's now her special, or her final conversation. Okay, or her generic conversation. Okay, now I swear that I'm leaving, and I guess sorry for the fake out. Bye-bye. God, that is so me.